I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, February the 7th, brought to you in part by Endovac Animal Health. Endovac Beef with Immune Plus provides broad-spectrum, gram-negative bacterial protection to your herd. Endovac protects against Pasteurella, Mannheimia, E. coli, and Salmonella. Watch the video at the conclusion of this feeder flash video report for more information, and also go to endovacanimalhealth.com. Punchy Pics are back. I'm going to tell you all about it. We kind of it's a funny story. I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you a little bit about the market here, and then we're going to go into the Punchy Pics, and I'll tell you all about why we're a few days late getting those out. But man, the market just keeps climbing, both cash and futures have got so aggressive on Tuesday that they pulled out in front of the cash and are leading these managed money outfits. They've got more buying going on and more short covering going on, and we're just gaining and gaining and gaining. And you think, oh my gosh, it's getting too high. You look back here, just last fall, before we saw the market sell off there a little bit, we were quite a bit higher than what we are now on our futures. They've got some room to grow there, and I think we've got more bullish support. We're in a better time now than we were then, so we've got some growing to do here, but that's not to say that they're going to pull back and pull the rug out from time to time so they can ride it back down and then ride it back up again. That's kind of what they do to these small futures, these small contracts. That's what they like to do because they can absolutely dominate them. Packers are going to be buying a lot of tag and mud this week. Everybody you talk to up through the middle part of the country all the way to the top is just talking about how muddy it is. These cattle are wallering around in mud. There could be over 50 to 100 pounds of tag on some of these cattle if they buy them live. But what few cattle they buy negotiated, they got to buy live to establish that price for all these formulas. So kind of caught between a rock and a hard place there. But these markets are really good every day. These feeder calf and feeder cattle markets are higher, and I think we're going to have higher fat cattle again this week. Some people don't think so, but they're coming out in the fat cattle auctions early this week. They really need cattle, guys, and even though they would like to step back the slaughter a little bit, I don't believe they can. They've got to have the product. They've been running so short all this calendar year, which I know is really short, but they don't have a lot of extra product around to fill their needs. Now I want to talk to you about the Punchy Pics, and they are back. We had a glitch there, a Google glitch, I guess you could say, with the email address that sends the Punchy Pics that you guys send it to, which is Punchy at NationalBeefWire.com. And when we were down in Orlando, it was time to put out the Punchy Pic of the month, and I told Jason Ronci, who I work with, I said, have you looked through them yet? You picked out which ones we're going to use yet? And he said, I don't know what the deal is. We've only got a handful, and I don't feel like we're really doing it justice here. I don't know what's happened. And I thought, damn it. Those KLA guys in Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers guys, they've traveled the whole globe telling people not to turn in their Punchy Pics. They've finally won. They're right. All these cattle need to be EID tagged, especially the old people's cattle that don't have any help and no facilities. And I was just losing my mind. And then he said, whoa, 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 here, they all went to spam. And then whenever he put it in there, we had about 75 more Punchy Pic emails. I'm just kidding with you guys, but no, we got a good many Punchy Pics in, and we sorted through them. We got them now for you, and we're going to start out with the kids corral. First one I'm going to show you on the kids corral. We don't have any prizes for that, but unless they're super punchy, these kids Pics that we get in, we really like them. We like to give some of them credit, but Adam Spiker there near Elgin, Nebraska, was picking up his 9-year-old son in the tractor. His son's named Leo, to help him feed. I bet Leo was chomping at the bit to get out there and start helping him open gates and all that kind of thing. But it was blizzard conditions up there in eastern Nebraska on that day. So that was a good one. We appreciate that one. How about Chad and Kim Harris from 2M Farms in Jonesboro, Tennessee? This is a pic of their son Mason Harris helping out around the farm and ranch there, and I thought that was a pretty good pic there, and looked like he was doing some punchy stuff, and I bet in his lifetime he'll have lots of punchy pics coming in. And the last one comes to us from Lindsay Gosney, and it is Cohen learning to band cattle, and Ayla pushing them in for him. Not exactly where that picture was taken from. They didn't tell us, but I thought it was a pretty good split pick there to put in the kids' corral. Now for the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, and the grand prize winner gets that whole case of Fairpiece. And I've told you about Fairpiece, guys. It's that revolutionary product. When we were down in Orlando, I got to talk to Dr. Rodrigo, and he was telling me about a study that he just got done where they bought a bunch of high risk Mississippi calves one at a time out of the sale barns, and I started getting PTSD from my childhood because when I was young, from the late 70s all the way through the 80s, my father shipped in tens of thousands of those high-risk Mississippi calves from Mr. Bill Ross in Jackson, Mississippi, and I thought they might all die at certain times there, and it was just giving me some PTSD. And Dr. Rodrigo said we took those cattle, we took them to College Station, Texas, we unloaded them, roughed them around, give them as much stress as we could, ran them through the chute, gave Fairpiece to some of them. We didn't give Fairpiece to some of the other ones, and at an even split there. Then we put them in the pens. Then about the time they were ready to really break, then they loaded them up on the trucks again, hauled them to Amarillo, and then hauled them back to College Station. Just kept wooling them around and stressing them out, unloaded them, and then continued to grow them there, background them. And about 17% of the ones that were not treated with Fairpiece died, and less than 3% of the ones that were treated with Fairpiece died. It's $3 a dose, guys. You can't afford not to use it. If you win the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, we're going to give you a whole case of it, plus a bunch of cool stuff from Beaver Feed Company in Beaver, Oklahoma, and Beaver County Stockyards. My buddy's there. So the third place comes from Troy Shelberg in Beloit, Kansas. And he was always wondering why his protein tubs didn't last very long. He thought surely these cows are getting enough of that protein, but he finally figured it out there, and I thought that was kind of a cute punchy pick there from Troy Shelberg there. The second place punchy pick of the month come from Chad Crisp from Clayton, New Mexico. I know those Crisp boys there. They run cattle, and actually not in Clayton, in a community called Thomas, New Mexico, where my grandmother lived, and they actually leased my grandmother's old place, and they run cattle on it too. There's not actually anything at Thomas, but it's just a spot in the road, and it's not really a spot, it's just an area there. But I know those guys, and they sent this bull squatting in the snow. They got some pretty good snow there a couple weeks ago around Clayton, and he said, Chad Crisp entitled this, "Talk About Building a Nut Hut." Whew, that would be chilly. But the first prize winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month contest goes to Justin Story of Lake County, Florida. This old cow thought she could outswim the dogs, but she couldn't. It looked like they were right up against the interstate or a main road there. You look at the billboards right there. He did note that the man on the horse was Donnie Bland, and he was riding his Florida Cracker horse there. And so congratulations to Justin Story. He's going to get all the prizes there for the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. And we have fun with this, and I hope you guys have fun watching it. Now let's talk about your board for Tuesday. February live cattle futures were up 327, down some on and pretty heavily on Monday, and then Tuesday come back up 327, sitting at 183, and the most recent established direct fed cattle price was 177.79 on the weighted average. That is a big premium to that. Like I told you, the futures are out in front. April was up 372 at 186.07. That's sounding awful good. Your back months on live cattle up $1.05 to up $2.65. March feeder cattle up $3.92. We thought being down 2 something there on Monday was terrible. Up $3.92 on Tuesday, $246.67. April was up $3.45 at $251.70. Your back months up $1.95 to $3 smooth. And those are big gains in our cattle contracts there. How about the grains? March corn down 4 cents a bushel, 4.38 3/4. March beans up 3 1/4 cents a bushel, 11.99 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for March up 4 1/2 cents a bushel at 6.18 1/2. Your fat cattle trade, of course, we haven't had any direct sales so far this week, which is not unusual there. I hope they dig in. They really need the cattle. These cattle are pulling mud. They're going to be dirty and hard to handle there. So they need to get all they can out of them. Stay hooked, guys. I think you'll get some more. You look at our biggest fat cattle auction in the nation, Stockman's Livestock Market, soon to be offering DVAuction broadcasting there. That's Yankton, South Dakota. That's 1,700 in overnight. 2,300 fat cattle total for their fat cattle auction in the ring, guys. The conventional cattle, just the straight up fats, steers and heifers, were $2 higher, from $170 to $176.50. So they kind of got left behind there during the big run up there last week, but that's still a good price. Then the drug-free and non-implanted cattle, and some of these cattle weighing really heavy, 172 to 179.50, and that was steady to $1 higher. But good fat cattle auction. I'm glad we still have a few places up there in the Midwest and the Northern Plains to get some price discovery on fat cattle. How about boxed beef cutout values? They were higher. Choice cuts up 59 cents at $294.07. Selects up 83 cents at $284.60. Slaughter 250,000 through the first 2 days of this week. That's 2,000 less than last week, but 6,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Performance Livestock Analytics. I've gotten to be friends with the co-founder there, Dustin Balsley. Saw him down in Orlando there. He's not going to budge on where he wants to spend his advertising money there. But with Performance Beef, he has developed this software for smaller producers to help them compete. You can manage your feed, you can manage the management of your cattle, manage the health on them, as easy as you can use your cell phone there, people. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, which it's a boomer, guys. Real-time index on DVAuction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states. Late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at 241.59, up $1.64. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index, about right, and it'll gain that back here once it picks up Tuesday's sales, but sitting at 239.58. Talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri, sells 5,600 through the ring there in West Plains, and then another 1,100 through their in-house video sale they do with help from DVAuction. It's amazing how seamless that they've been able to do that, and they have video sales every week in West Plains, Missouri, guys. Your feeder cattle through the ring sold $3 to $6 higher, spots $10 higher, according to my friend Dan Hill there with Federal State Market News. The calves sold $5 to $10 higher, with spots as much as $15 higher than last week. So just continuing to gain and gain and gain, guys. But good sale there in West Plains. You can view and bid that sale every week there on DVAuction.com. How about Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma? They're one of our favorites. They had about 5,000 head, including the cows. Look at their feeder cattle. They do not have a market reporter there, but according to their automated market report through Cattle Market Central, their feeder cattle sure look $2 to $6 higher, with spots as much as $10 higher on the feeder heifers. Beaver County Stockyards was our NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. You look at these quotes, the best tested weights there on the automated market report, and you see 388 head of the 5-weight steers in Beaver, Oklahoma. They averaged 560 pounds with a weighted average price of $301.46. About 528 head of 6-weight steers, they averaged 647 at 275.05, and 475 head of the 7-weight steers averaged 750 right on the dot with a weighted average price of 246.45. 593 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 839 and with a weighted average price of 235.91, and 278 head of the big 9-weight steers in Beaver, Oklahoma averaged 939 with a weighted average price of 223.64. Very impressive. How about the heifers? 291 head of 5-weight heifers averaged 551 at 261.51, and 615 head of the 6-weight heifers averaged 654 with a weighted average price of 244.51, and 290 head of 7-weight heifers at Beaver County Stockyards had an average weight of 732 pounds, weighted average price of 228.59. Give you some individual quotes from all around. How about OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, for their Tuesday calf sale? They sell 59 steers weighed 537 at $340 a hundred. Wow. How about Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota? They sell 206 head of 826-pound feeder steers, and they bring 252. But the most impressive quote for what it was and where it was at, and your Macrison, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Holton Livestock in Holton, Kansas. My buddy Mark Service commissions cattle in there. They're the Yossi cattle here that used to go to St. Joe Stockyards. 62 steers, weighed 611, bring 312.75. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.
Every feeder calf that comes onto the place, we run through the chute and they're given a shot of Indivac. Every animal on the place has had a shot of Indivac at least once, and we don't have any death loss, well, very little death loss. And I mean, it's the common denominator across all the cattle. So staying out ahead of those sicknesses or illnesses is really important for us. Kind of preventative maintenance is very important. So using that Indivac, helping out their immune system before they get sick, really saves us money.